Shit moms won't say.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Shit Moms Won't Say. I am so psyched to have this person here because she'll tell you she's not funny, but she laughs at her own jokes. I think she's a freaking riot. But on top of being a freaking riot, she is the creator of the only app, literally the only app that my wife and I used this entire first year of my daughter's life. Maybe you've heard of it because it's like the most popular app in the world. Is that fair to say? Something like that in the world, the Wonder Weeks app. Yes, that is absolutely true. Mom of three, grandmother. Can you believe it? Because look at her. She's stunning with her red lipstick. Grandmother of one, Xaviera Plooij. Welcome to my show.
Hi there. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. My first international guest. How fancy.
Ooh.
I know, we're working on time differences. What time is it where you are in your side
It's
of the
9
world?
o'clock in the evening. It's completely dark here. And as I have like no good lights, it's like literally under the only light, big light there is now.
I think that you guys still do have some lighting options though in how, like you could get more lights if you wanted.
Yeah,
we
have this ban on lights that you can't have more than lights. No, we don't. No, but you know, look, I created this space, which like that space, and it's completely dark. But it's just because I have the TV there, and we lounge there, and we chill there, and I've got this big like glass ceiling over there, which I'm there all the time with when it's daytime, so I don't need more lights. And then my boyfriend says it's like romantic. He just doesn't get that I'm 10 years older. I can't see in the dark, but I just don't tell him.
I love it. I love it. Listen, I was about to say to you, like, how is it like watching America burn to the ground? But then before we got on, you're like, nope, screw that. I'm coming to America. I want to live in America. You have no right to complain. I'm getting my green card. That was literally what I wrote, was like, ask her about watching America burn to the ground. Then you were like, fuck that. Absolutely not. You have no idea what you're talking about.
I love America. Like, you guys have no idea how inspirational your country is wherever you go. And it's double. You know, there are some aspects I like very much more about being Dutch.
Yeah.
But like 99%, which is more than the majority of me, I love America. Every time I can go there, it's been a road trip and it inspires me. And it's been the reason my app got that big, because my parents, they did the research behind the Wonder Weeks, right? And they published the book, and the book was a bestseller in Holland and in Germany, and I think in France at that moment. And then I took over and made it a bit more European-like. Like, we covered everything in America, in Europe. And then one time I thought, you know, okay, I have this baby. She literally doesn't sleep. She's one of those things that keeps you awake. And the only time she did sleep was during night, which was better than my first daughter, because she didn't sleep at all, neither in night. So I thought, okay, if I can't work during daytime, you know, why not work during nighttime? I know it sounds imbecile, which it was, but I thought that way. So I thought, you know, let's just do a country that doesn't sleep when I'm awake, when my daughter sleeps. So I did America, planning to make America big, because she was sleeping. I could be on the phone with America. And that was my first trip to New York. It was 1 week just to open up my eyes to think, like, what is America? Who are Americans? What do they like? Which is, now I understand, completely ludicrous, because I was seeing New York, which is like not really representative of the rest of your country. And but somehow you do get this jest everywhere. You do get the people, and that is something for you. It's so in your blood, which you don't realize how important it is. You do live the dream. It's like they all say it, but it is true. Everyone gets raised with the thought that if they really want to, they can achieve something. Now, we are much more of we like mediocrity country. So we do not like to stand out. We do not like to stand under, right? We like to be in that zone.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
No.
It's a Calvinistic background we come from.
Yeah.
So you don't show off. If you're a show off, you're a show off, right? In that way. If you try something and you fail, people will laugh. Like, dude, you tried and you failed. While in America, we'll be like, good for you that you tried, hang in there, do it again.
Yeah, we have
And
so many quotes about, shots on goal and do this and do that. Interesting. But then you said to me that somebody said to you, when you come to America, don't wear your hair down, don't wear your red lips, don't wear because we're so stuck up.
No, but that the stuck up part was my translation of it, and I always translate things in really clear words. Let me just say, I'm not that subtle of a person.
I love it.
And no, it was one of my publishers that said, if you do interviews, just don't do lace, don't do leather jeans, don't do your hair down, don't do your red lipstick. Basically, be less you. And I thought, like, okay. No, I did in the beginning, but I felt really bad. And then at one point, I thought, whatever, I'm me. And yeah.
Please. Well, it's so weird. I wonder if it's because, so like this show, right, was formed because a lot of moms are bitches. You hear that? A lot of moms are bitches. A lot of moms are mean to each other. And I wonder if it's because like the community that the interview would be sort of geared at is like, they're a bunch of tight asses, so they don't want to take parenting advice from somebody who's too wild and too crazy. And like, I wonder if that was like,
I think
what was going on.
Because they want like a general person who does general things, who has a general opinion, etc., etc. While I just don't believe that even applies to me, because we talk about brain changes, which have nothing to do with culture, background, wherever you live, the age you are, the way you want to raise your kids. We just tell parents what is happening in your baby's brain, and then it's up to you guys to do whatever you want to do with it.
Mm-hmm. And we're gonna get into that, because boy, does that tie right on into the show. Before we do, let's jump into Big Mom 3, because I cannot wait to hear your answers. First question to Big Mom 3: did you always know you wanted to be a mom?
Yeah.
Total 100%. Yes. Period. The end.
I always wanted 6 kids. Then I had one. I thought, okay, maybe stretch it down to 5. Then I had 2. So okay. Then after 3, I thought, like, okay, I'm done. Yeah. And I really thought I was done. And because I always was a stay-at-home mom. Like I said, I worked during night times, built my company during the night. It completely screwed me over. That has cost me 5 years of my life. Nobody gets how hard that was. It was extremely hard. I achieved. I got the #1 self-publishing, and then I got the #1 app, and then I was like, you know what? I actually realized mommy's tired.
Mommy's tired.
Mommy ain't doing this shit anymore. So I thought, this is it. I'm gonna enjoy life. I'm gonna be me. And then I met my current boyfriend, who's 10 years younger, and he actually said, well, do you still want to have kids? And I was like, dude, no. And he said, like, but that would be the cherry on our cake with the relationship. And I said, well, I didn't say it. I thought, my cherries have turned into raisins, guy, And, but actually they didn't. So I might still go for #4 now. But if he would have asked me a couple of years ago, I would have said, like, never. But I always knew I wanted to have kids. Yeah. And that is for me my #1 goal in life, was to have kids, to grandkids, to have a big family.
And how old are your kids? You have 3 kids, and then you're a grandma.
I'm a grandma, yeah.
You're a grandma.
Well, I was very young when I got my first child. So he was Thomas, was 20, and he got his child when he was 23. So that makes me a grandma.
You're a young grandma.
I'm a young grandma, yeah. And I officially collect people that tell me, is that your daughter? And I can say, like, no, that's my granddaughter.
You can be like, yes.
Bingo, like chick, bingo. And no, and then I've got a daughter of 19, and then I've got a daughter of 11.
Okay. Awesome. Love it. Okay. Second question, the Big Mom 3. And I hope this answer is just, What is the
Yeah.
shittiest or most backhanded piece of advice you've ever gotten from another mother or parent?
Nobody dare say something to me. No, that's, I really wanted to say something like, okay, I'm gonna throw this in with your introduction. But actually, people don't give me advice because I think everybody's afraid.
Why? That's great. How'd you do that?
Yeah, and I like it when people say something because that is so rare that that I'm actually like, dude, I like you just for the fact that you're able to say something, to dare to say something to me like that. Because I would love more advice, but I never got that because my parents first, before I took over, my parents were the baby gurus. Now,
That's true.
who dares to say something to those people? And then when I took over and I got all these prizes and awards, like nobody would ever say anything to me.
That's nuts. I didn't even think about that. I was like, oh, she probably gets email on email on email of shitty people being like, my kid didn't hit this leap on this date and you're blah, blah, blah. Wow,
But
people won't even dare.
That's not me as a mommy. Oh, I get those.
So as a mommy, I was hoping, but I thought at least that. But wow,
Yeah,
good for you.
that's word. That's different. And that's mostly because people want to have their kids do everything and every leap. And it really doesn't matter how many times we tell people, look, your kid chooses from the list of skills. Nobody can do anything. And B, you don't want someone who does everything because then you'll do everything for 5%. You want someone to have their own unique talent and to go for that, which is like your drive, right? And so I do get that, but that's always highly educated people. Let's be very clear. It's never the moms that are like so-called slowly educated, low educated, because they read. Let me tell you, those people read. It's the highly goal achieving moms and dads who want their kid to be like Einstein's all the way, to do everything. Doesn't matter how many times we say, look, it's not even, your kid's not supposed to do every skill at once, but their child is, because their child is not the general child. And it's always those people.
That's super interesting. First of all, I love that people are so scared of you because you come from like the parent, like the parenting baby family. Like they're so scared of you. That's great. But I also love that like on a work related thing, people that are like type A and they're like, well, my kid's not doing this. Why aren't they doing this? That's who reaches out to you. That's very fun. You'll never get an email from my wife and I were like, oh, she's going into a leap. Fuck. Like that's all we say.
No, we do get those emails too. Because I get all kinds of, I get a lot, mostly that's very nice. But that's always like nice, which I would like. There's like literally one time that someone emailed me like, look, this leap is over. I did it, but now, because you fucked up my life so bad with these leaps, you give me wine and I deserve a t-shirt. And so, I pissed my pants from that email. Like, I deserve that t-shirt, I owe it now. And
you owe it.
So my colleague and I, we made this whole song. Like, first she was afraid, she was petrified, kept thinking she could never live without baby by her side. I don't know, I don't remember the date, but we made it. And then she spent so many nights being awake, which she hated. So we made this whole song about it and we posted it online. So, we have fun. And so it's mostly those emails we get from, nice. It's like ironically nice, like people saying, look, your app is a godsend, but could you please just not invented these apps, like,
right, why'd you have to tell me about it? Yeah. Oh my, well, I love it. Love that answer. Okay. Third question of the Big Mom 3. What is a skill or superpower you had before becoming a mom that you think has really helped you as a mom?
Which is completely ironic if you would know me, but the peace and quiet I have with kids, the rest, because I'm not ADHD, but I have a lot of energy. But if I have a baby, I'm like completely chill. I'm like zoning in, zen, and time doesn't bug me at all. So when I'm working, or even when I'm not working, every minute is almost planned. I'm a control freak to the max. But when I'm with a baby, I'm like zoom. And that helps so much because your baby takes over. Don't underestimate the power of your energy. And if you're at peace with yourself, your baby will feel at peace with you. I've got crying babies. If I hold them, they're just not crying anymore.
Look at that. That's because you guys are the baby people. Your family's the parenting and baby.
I don't know if it's that. I think it's being, I can fool you. I can be like in tears half an hour before I just put on a shitload of makeup, brush my hair, and you won't see. But a baby will notice everything. You cannot hide your emotions from a baby.
Mm-hmm. They feel everything. Yeah, they do.
Exactly. So if you're pure and if you're pure with the baby, and I really love babies, they'll feel it.
Yeah.
And they'll be completely zoned out too. I can do whatever. Like last week, my granddaughter was here. So I put her in this sling thing. What's it called? Like
a holder guy. Yeah.
Yeah. And I always use like big towel, which are just not, and I like them most, not the ones which are made already. And I did everything, and I told her at conference calls and everything, and she'll just sleep because they feel that layer of energy that we lost that feeling with that layer of energy. Some things babies do better than we do, and we only tend to think about what we gain during life, what we learn, but there's a lot of things we lose during life, and there's a lot of things that we can learn from babies.
That's a great point. You're right. People they let go of childhood, and there's a lot of things that they should keep because they're really good qualities. Like, especially that inherent, like, oh, mommy's nervous, or oh, mommy doesn't like that person, or like that sixth sense almost of like, yeah, exactly. You're right. You lose it. And it's like, you should hold on. I feel like I have it back more now that I have a baby than I did in the last 35 years of my life.
Do you know why that is? Do you know that actually your brain changes after birth?
Okay.
Your mom brain changed. Did you give birth to the baby?
No, my wife birthed her, but I have mom brain in a bad way, in a real bad way. Yeah. No, well, today I went to the grocery store today, and which we don't go anywhere, right? Because of the world. But I went to the grocery store today. I had to pick something up. I'm walking out, and I look at the car next to me. I'm like, look at this asshole. He left his car on the whole time. He has exhaust coming out. I'm like, look at this empty car. It was my car. It was my car. I left the car on the whole goddamn time. And I'm walking out, and out loud enough for other people to hear. I said, what a dick is what I'm saying underneath my mask. What a dick. I'm walking through the parking lot. I'm the dick. It's me.
What did you do? Just, turn around, do another round, zap your car out. Then if no one's looking, you go in.
I just went right in my car and was like, mom brain. But like, oh my God. I mean, and I even noticed it on the way in, and I was like, whose car is on around me? Couldn't possibly be mine.
And it was.
It was mine. So yeah, you're right. Whether you give birth or not, mom brain's real and real bad. Yeah. Real bad. Interesting. So let's talk about, I want to hear about your experience, because obviously you're like baby guru, right? So I want to talk about the Wonder Weeks, but before we get into that, I want to talk about, and I'm always so interested in this because you've recently become a grandma, and I know that there are so many differences between parenting and grandparenting. So coming from your insane baby guru background, what are you finding being like the biggest differences? What are you liking more? What are you liking less? Like what's the experience looking like for you so far?
Oh geez, within the three, or within the three versus my granddaughter?
Let's go 3 versus your granddaughter, like a full head-to-head competition.
Yeah. So what I like most is not giving birth. That was really nice. And not being torn down like apart and stuff. That I like very much. I didn't like very much not having watermelon boobs for those first days, because I like that. But no, let's be honest. With her, I treat every child the same. So I wouldn't treat my granddaughter differently than my kids. But the fact is that you get milder, you get way more easygoing with every child you get. And if I see her like the fourth one, which is at my house, I'm very sure that my first child will have had at the end, if you count down the many candies they had until they're 18, he would have least. And he would have the most macrobiotic, organic stuff. And then with number 3, you're like, yeah, no, whatever, they'll grow up, food in. So you do get easier, right? And you can't put that pressure which you're putting on as a first-time mommy. You can't have that pressure when you're already having 2 or 3 kids. So, for example, I've got 5 times more albums and printed photos, and everything is nicely done with the first one. Now the third one has a box where everything is stuffed in. You get there's this, but on the other side, the first one always gets they get stricter rules. Actually, I'm starting to think, is there like an advantage of being the first one? Oh, God, I'm calling my son to like apologize to him afterwards.
You know what? It's nice when parents can apologize. Not all parents can, so good for you.
Yeah. Because I think,
no advantage. Poor guy.
Hey, maybe I'll come up with it. No, I had more time with him. That is true, right?
Okay.
I had more time with him. But
that was focus.
Because I was so young. He would be, when he was a baby, he would be feeling the grass, and we would be lying in the grass. And I could spend 2 hours with him just, looking at the grass, feeling the grass. I could never do that again because, that is the good advantage of being such a young mom. You don't have time pressure. You don't have pressure at all. You don't have a lot of responsibilities. You just have time. And that is a good thing to have.
That's a gift that I don't think anybody even thinks about until they don't have it. And then you're like, oh my God, I just used to sit on the couch all day.
Or just, go to the toilet with the door closed.
With the door closed. Yeah. I don't know the last time I went to the bathroom with the door. I have no idea. And if it's closed, she's in there with me.
Exactly.
Or it's like my wife and I happen to be home and I'm like, please just take her for 10, like, I'm going to close the bathroom door. And it's really out of like, I don't want her to climb in the bathtub because she will. She's an animal.
Yeah, I know. We've all been there. We've all been there. And it's that door never closes, but that's the good thing about when they go to school. Your door closes. And then I actually remember that the first time my youngest daughter went to school, so I was like, okay, dude, I'm off, I can close the door. I was like, there is absolutely no reason for me to close the door because I'm home alone. And I was like, but I'm closing it anyway. Look at me doing that. Yeah.
I love it. Okay, well that is a big difference. But so here's sort of like part 2 of that. So you have, and again, the Wonder Weeks has literally rocked my wife and my world. But because you went into parenting with all of this knowledge, with your background that you come from, were you just like, parenting, cinch? Like, were you just able to follow the science or no?
No. Let me just say that very loud. It is extremely hard being a parent. Look, I run 7 worldwide multi-million companies. I don't care shit, but being a parent is fuckingly hard, and it will never change.
Really hard.
It is. It starts fuckingly hard. It ends up fuckingly hard, and it will always be. And I've got this. My son has a huge company. He's got his own girl, his own daughter. He's got a girlfriend. Everything. It's still hard being a parent. It will never change. One child takes away like 10 years of your, I don't know how many years, but like 10 years of your life. I don't know, because it's very hard and nobody takes it easy. It just doesn't happen that way.
Hear that, everybody? The owner of the Wonder Weeks app says parenting is hard.
It is.
So everyone cut each other a break.
No, okay? But let me just point that out, that it is necessary for you as a mom or dad to find it hard. Because if you find it hard, it means you take on such a responsibility there is a responsibility beyond yourself. You've never had that before being a parent, because you can say, I love you to death, but you know how it works. You stop loving people and you get divorced. It doesn't work that way. But when you've got a child, there's this new level of love, which you've never ever experienced before, which is a great responsibility, which makes you doubt yourself, which is good. Because when you doubt yourself, you're you're very much more, your tentacles go out and you observe more and you see more and you get more. So being doubtful of yourself, thinking it's hard, thinking it's shitty, being honest that it's a hard job makes you a better parent. And that is so important to understand.
Do you want to take over my show going forward? Because I think you just captured my whole message in like a few sentences. That's it. That's the nail on the head that I've been trying to say for however many months that we've been doing this, is that if you're not doubting yourself and you're not feeling like shit and you aren't so scared of the love you feel for your kid, you're probably not a great parent.
Well, exactly, because you need those tentacles to be out, everything. You need to be so much more observant and you need to be like on edge in that level the whole time.
Well, good, because I'm on edge constantly, so that works out really well for me.
That actually makes you a great parent. Don't go overboard there.
No, I'm too medicated for that. I can't go overboard if I tried. I'm always at about a 6. Let's talk about the Wonder Weeks app, because again, and if somebody out there doesn't know what it is, go download it, because it's literally the one app. And I said this already, but it's the one app that my wife and I have used that's made sense. So, and the way you describe it, I can't describe it in a way that's going to do it justice. Give me the background of it, because it's so true. It's so spot on. Like, I know my daughter is going into what you guys call a leap right now, or in the next like week. We know this is coming. She started getting a little grumpy today, and we're like, here it is. Here's a leap coming.
So actually, before my parents' research, we thought that, you would learn everything a little bit more every day. So your graph of learning would go like this. It just doesn't happen that way. We learn in leaps. So there's this like brain click. You could see it as, an update of your brain. And that is scary, because with an update, there's all these new functionalities in your baby's brain. And, it's like they woke up on a new planet. So they would, what would you do if you would wake up on another planet? You would cry, definitely, because you perceive everything different. So you see, hear, feel the whole world differently. So none of it makes sense anymore. So you'd cry. You'd be clingy to your mom, because, or your dad. That is the only one you recognize, like a jig, hold on, because the rest is so scary now. Hold on. And you'll be cranky, definitely. So that's what we call the 3 C's. Plus, a baby, if you would be in a new world without your Lonely Planet guide, you wouldn't sleep, you wouldn't eat that well, etc. So those are those weeks that, we've all been there, that suddenly your baby is just not himself. He's just in this cranky, fuzzy phase. And that is actually a leap. That is when they get used to this new brain update. Let's call it an update, the leap. And they do all these things with these new functionalities, right? And they need you to guide them through, to show them, look, I know you're now entering the leap of, let's say, patterns. Then show them patterns, let them hear patterns, let them feel patterns, so they'll get the hang of this new world better. And that's what we do with our app and with our book. We just tell you fill in the due date, because, really, really important. The app goes by due date, not by birth date. I'll come up to that later. And we'll just tell you, look, next week, there's a leap coming up. Just read into it so you'll know what this brain change is all about, and then help your baby through it. And that is basically what we do.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
It is spot on, because brain maturation has nothing to do with intelligence, nothing to do with culture, nothing to do with religion, nothing to do with the color of your skin, nothing to do with the color of your socks, nothing to do with whatever bra you wear. It's just brain maturation. And that's the reason we go by due date, because it's actually, that is just brain ripening. They're maturing cells and they need to mature to such level. And then there's this new brain change. So that's why you fill in the due date. And not, if you come to think of it, the date of birth, it's just, it's a good reason to have candy, to have cake, to have, joyful moments and stuff. But if you're, let's say you're born you give birth at 42 weeks, which we're allowed in Holland, right? It's the maximum, but we're allowed to do 42 weeks. It's not like those 2 weeks the brain freezes or something, right? They still mature, but somehow people treat 42 weeks babies the same as 37-week babies. But it's and 37-week baby, the moment it gets born, it's not like those brains go in fast forward during when they're between your labia, right? So it makes sense. It's just the brain maturation, which goes by due date.
It's so cool. And I know like your parents were sort of like the OG researchers on this. Did they just spend years and years like observing babies, or is this just something that they like did they experiment on you?
No, everybody asked so, but they didn't. No, they didn't. No, but it's like we don't tell people what to do. We would never tell people what to do, so they can't experiment on me. They were just, trying to be best parents like they could too. It's like if you found out how your heart works, it doesn't mean that you know how to put a child into a bath, right? It's basically the same. They just found out how this brain works, and no, my parents actually stumbled upon this, which is now a good relief for all parents worldwide, by coincidence. It was the 70s, and my dad got this scholarship, and my mom, and he got a scholarship to go to Tanzania, to Jane Goodall to watch the
Cool.
chimpanzees.
Yeah.
Chimpanzees, and everything was done, of course, in written, in letters. They would write, and they would put a stamp on it, and they would mail it and stuff. And they got this, and he got there with all this new equipment from this money he got from university and his hypothesis. And he came there on the beach, and the first guy asked him, "What are you going to study?" He was like proudly telling, "I'm going to study," I don't know, I don't even remember, blah, blah, blah. And then the guy said, "No, you're not, because I'm studying blah, blah, blah." And my dad was like, "Dude, I'm in Tanzania in the middle of nowhere. Can't even call my professor, nothing. I'm here like stuck with all these cameras and everything." And so they spent 2 days moaning at the beach, my dad and my mom, because my mom joined him because she didn't want to leave. And she thought, "Oh, I'm great at English. I'm going to teach kids English. I'm just going to volunteer in schools," having no idea that the next school was like 10 hours away from that place. But whatever, that happens. And then they came up with the plan, let's do open studies, which is commonly known in science. You just don't go for a hypothesis, you just observe. And you don't even know what you're observing, but you just note things down until you see something which you think, let's go in there. And they would see with chimpanzees, they're very close to our brain, of course, but they would see that literally there were phases in which as a human, you think those chimpanzees are at the edge of mistreating their kids. So they would push their baby away, but not in a mild, gently way like we would do it, but just slam the kid away, and the baby would cry, and the mom would get agitated, and they would have real fights, like mom-baby fights. But then suddenly it would be over, and that baby was allowed to have more freedom from the chimp mom. So in the beginning, they're literally stuck here, right? And then at one point, they're allowed to go on their backs. "Hi, babies." Yeah, now they're taking the piss out of me, look, and now I did that back. They were like,
You showed them. Now they're on camera. Hello.
Exactly. And now she's 11, so I can tell her which boyfriend is yours. So you'd better behave. Yeah, that's another very good tip. When they hit puberty, always use the love card. It helps. So back to business. So they saw this distances between the chimp mom and the chimp baby going in leaps. Like there's a fight, and then suddenly afterwards, the chimp mom gave their baby more freedom. And then there was this period of fighting again, and then it happened again. And so here, then there, then next to mom, then 1 meter away from mom, then trying to climb trees, then climbing trees. So the skill set emerged, and the amount of freedom emerged. And then they saw that it happened at the same age with every chimp baby. So they actually discovered the leaps in chimps. But if there's leaps in chimps, next question was, of course, when we get back, let's see the leap in in human moms. And then they started.
So cool.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay. So they didn't have to experiment on you because they just watched like chimps do it. And then they said, well, babies are similar. And they were right.
Yeah.
They were right. They're literally spot on.
There's different ages, of course. There's different, we don't develop the same pattern as chimp moms do, as chimp babies do, and human babies are different. But the actually leaps now are seen in almost every organism. There's like worms and insects that have proven to grow in leaps. So basically, growth just happens in leaps.
That's amazing. It's so cool. Amazing. And now, so part 2 of that, you guys are developing something for postpartum.
Yeah, we are.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it started really simple, thinking, we need this app for mommies just to do like a mommy workout or get your sexy back, or, more of that case, feel woman again.
Yeah, feel like a person.
Carrying a child. But then, if I what I know now that is so unjustifiable to women. So we started just, seeing what do you have to repair, like in your stomach or in your outside or whatever. And then actually we discovered there is so much more to incontinence at a later age, to how you feel your relationship, how your choices of work versus children now affect the way you will maybe look back when you're older. Everything, your hormones. And we talked to so many people, so many experts, which are all almost like holistic experts. So it would be like this, like in New York, we went to the best urologist, gynecologist, but she is also very holistic. So she would say there's more to it. You should never have pain. So we ended up having this big puzzle. And then I thought, ever since Adam and Eve, we've been saying 9 months up, 9 months down. But what do they do when you're like literally just gave birth? They sew you up and they say like, yeah, looks good. Go bugger off. Yeah. And there is worldwide no one actually doing this 9 months later, which is ludicrous, right? Mm-hmm. So I spent together with my boyfriend, we spent like 10 months doing this big puzzle, because it was with your hormones, with the way it changes your relationship, with, like I said, literally the brain change that makes your gray matter smaller, but makes you more empathetic. What's it called?
Empathetic. Yep.
So more observant for everything, which is good. But if it goes overboard, could turn into fears, could turn into depression, maybe. So stop it. That affects by your hormones, but it's also affected by your pelvic system. There is a correlation between your pelvic system and the incontinence and your depression. So where does it start? Is it food? We made this whole puzzle, and we found out actually, if you go back to the basic, there is so much you can do for women that you need to know when you just gave birth. Because we tend to think you give birth with your vagina, you carry it in your womb, shove it out your vagina, and we're done. It's completely not true. Your feet change the moment you gave birth, your brain changes, and your aura changes, and everything in between changes. The way the things you decide in life change. The way you think changes. Maybe the things that before really didn't carry you at all would make you cry now. So everything changed, and you need to get back to you, which is now the title of our new book, Back to You. And maybe even a better version of yourself. It's very broad. So we dive into food and the relationship of your recovery, but also into exercises to give you better orgasms. We are women. We live in this century, and we like orgasms. And but you're like, no, when we ask people, like, how does your pelvic from outside look like, your labia, your clitoris, etc., everybody still thought it was this little knot that is your clitoris. Like 90% doesn't know it goes all the way there. Then if you're torn, where is it torn, baby? On your clitoris. So you have to know these things. You have to know your own anatomy. You have to see how it looks like down below. You know, you have to go and enjoy yourself again.
Well, and people are like shamed into not knowing themselves, or, you know, like after you give birth, and my wife is very open about it, you know, she suffered from PPD after giving birth, and people are like, they're so unwilling to say like, I don't feel the same. Like, you shouldn't feel the same, but you're right. If you can develop a better version of yourself, like, why the fuck wouldn't you?
Exactly. It's reinvent, like you're reinventing life together with your baby. But if your life is with you and your baby, you shouldn't only reinvent your baby's life and get to know it. You should get to know your own life in that way, because you change. It could make you a better version of yourself, but nobody helps you through it. And that is something, actually, I think politics should be ashamed to not have. You know, we all know that you don't carry a baby only with your womb and you shove it out your vagina. That, you know, we all know of hormones, right? We've heard of them. Everybody knows that everything changes. But we just don't do anything about it, which is
Ridiculous.
Actually,
Yeah.
It's more than ridiculous. I think it's almost, what's it called? Belowing women, or, you know, it's suppressing women.
Yeah, it's like criminal, you know. It is. It keeps women down. It makes them, you know, less than in society.
On our agenda, it should be politically on our agenda.
Yeah,
we cannot bring another generation in this world without women putting it there, right? We need women.
Straight.
But if we say women should have a good career, women should take care of themselves, women should blah 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 blah, and all these things that women should, like, then make sure that our whole system is built so we can do that all. But
no, it's a systemic problem, 100%, because everybody, you know, well, women should be equal in the workplace, and women should do this, and women should do that. Well, they can't, because women required to be taken care of in a different way than a man does. So
exactly, and it doesn't mean better or worse.
No,
it's equal isn't
different.
the same as different. You know, there's this, people think people don't understand, but, you know, we should have the right to all this knowledge about postpartum, which there is, but nobody brings out into this world. And
no, they don't. We do. And, you know, bravo to you and your team for doing it. And I love that that's where you guys are going with it. And so I have one more question before we start to wrap it up. And it's funny because your youngest just walked through. Do your kids understand the magnitude of like how your companies have changed the world? They don't. They don't.
Sarah, come eens.
Let's ask. Why not?
We have a question for you. Oh, nee. She said, oh, nee, which is like, oh, no. No, come over. I just took the world out for you. So look, come over. No. This is like your grand entree.
It is. It's your big moment.
Come here. No, honestly, come sit on my lap. Just pretend you like it. She doesn't.
2 minutes, not even.
But we're on TV, so you should. No, this is. You know, there's money on this. There's money. Okay. There she is.
Hello. Nice to meet you. So listen, I have a question, and I asked your mom, but I think it will be more interesting coming from you. It's nothing bad, I promise. So, do you understand how important your mom's companies are and what they do for the world? Do you like get it?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think so.
I don't think you get it.
Yeah, I think I do, but yeah.
She says she does. I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah,
I
okay.
don't know how to explain it, but I think I know what it is.
And you know what it is, but do you understand the importance it gives to parents?
No, not really. I know what.
Do you understand that, like people saying that they wouldn't have survived like baby child time without our knowledge? No.
No.
Yeah. Your mom's pretty cool. She's a pretty cool lady. I don't know. Just throwing it out there. She's pretty cool.
That's a professional. She is, she studied people. She's a master's, and she has a master's, an electorate master's, like, from knowing who is cool. And she just called me cool. So now you know forever that I'm cool. She doesn't think I'm cool. She thinks
It's
I'm very
true.
not cool.
In the United States, you can actually get your master's for telling people who's cool and not cool. And that's what my master's is in. So your mom's cool. And she's looking at me. She's like, who's this not cool person talking to my not cool mom?
Wow.
All right. We've embarrassed you enough.
And I owe you $2 now.
That's right. We'll pay her after. Well, see, then you answered my question live. So let's start to wrap it up. I have 2 final questions, and I think I know the answer to one of them, because the answer to one of them is the same answer I would give, which is, as a parent, what is a product you cannot live without?
Coffee.
I was gonna say the Wonder Weeks app.
No shit. Sorry, if I can choose between coffee and the Wonder Weeks app, it would be coffee. Oh, like, so unprofessional of me. No, you need the Wonder Weeks app
And
first,
coffee.
and wine sometimes.
And
But yeah, no. You
That's
can
fine.
live. Let's literally say you can raise a kid in the jungle. You need your heart. You don't need a product. You need your intuition and your heart. Let's be honest there, right?
I
It
love
helps to have all these things that help you,
Sure.
but it just make it easier.
No, it doesn't. And it doesn't make your kids think you're any cooler. Okay. Last question. What is something you know now that you wish you knew before becoming a mom?
You don't need sleep. You will survive.
You will survive. You will survive. I love it. Well, listen, my new friend in another part of the world, I am so excited to have you here. Thank you so, so much for spending your 10 o'clock hour with me. I can't believe, right? You're almost at 10. Go to bed, for Christ's sake. I know you don't sleep anyway, but
Don't say that. I'm going always get into these fights with boyfriend who wants to go to sleep like at 10. Like, dude, you're younger, but you're not 5. Let's be honest. When your kids go to bed, that is the best part, right? You think, yeah.
it's a nice
I don't
part of the
go to
day.
bed like that. My daughter goes to bed at 10. I go to bed like at least 1 or 2 hours later because I need my time, my me time.
That's right. You get a nice glass of wine, you watch some TV, and you hang out. Well, then listen, go do that, because you are in prime hour for that right now. But I cannot thank you enough for being here. Where can people download the Wonder Weeks app? When can we take a look out for the new pieces of puzzle? Fill us in so people can follow.
On the Android store and in the Google Play Store and in the Apple Store, and you'll type in the Wonder Weeks and it'll pop up, because it's like you
It's
said,
the number 1 app in the world.
it's known app, so you'll find it. Yeah, like no issue. Then the book was, of course, on sale like every bookstore, locally or online. And Back to You will come. Yeah, in the States you're a bit late, actually, like in 2 years, because you need so much time to publish. But we'll also have that whole program as an app program. So all our experts will guide you through it, but that'll be somewhere next year, depending on when I get my brain back, and because I've had so many deadlines, and I've had not even miscarriage, but I had a stillborn, so that took like 2 months out of my brain.
Ooh, knock you out for sure. Yeah.
So I'm getting back to me now, but before Back to You is there will be somewhere around 2021, I guess, in the app form.
I love it. Well, thank you so much again. And everybody out there, thank you so much for tuning into Shit Moms Won't Say. We will see you next week.
Shit Moms Won't Say.